Brighton are on their pre-season tour. They're playing Japanese side Kashima Antlers and Tokyo Verdy during their time in Japan. I'm delighted to say that their chief executive, Paul Barber, joins us now from the Japanese capital. Hello, Paul.
Hi, Sam. How are you doing?
Yeah, very good, thank you. What is the weather like in Tokyo? I know it's a little bit towards the latter part of the day there.
It's pretty warm still. It's probably over 30 degrees at the moment. The players have been training for the last hour or so, and I think they've got about another hour to go. So, yeah, I think it's harder work for them than it is for me sitting here, that's for sure.
We can see, I think, behind you in the background, the players training, preparing for pre-season. How has pre-season gone so far, and why is it that you've chosen to go off to Japan?
Pre-season's gone really well so far. We're enjoying it. Obviously, we're working with Fabian Hurzeler for the first time, a new medical team for the first time, a number of new players, as well as a lot of players from our previous squad. And we've come out to Japan for a couple of reasons, really. First of all, obviously, we've had a number of invitations thanks to Karuma Toma's fantastic profile here. And across the world. We've also got a number of commercial partners who see Japan as a very important market for them. So it's a combination of sporting reasons and commercial reasons, being very honest about it, that we're here. We've been really well received, fantastic support from everyone that we've met in Tokyo so far, and there's a lot of Brighton fans here as well, which is great.
Paul, what can we expect from Brighton under the Premier League's youngest ever manager? Is his playing style dramatically different to that of Roberto De Zerbi, or was one of the attractions the fact that he plays a similar brand of football?
I think it'll be an evolution of the type of football Roberto played, which in itself was an evolution of the type of football that Graham played. And Graham Potter built on the foundations of Chris Hughton. And what we try to do is evolve rather than have significant changes in terms of personnel to the squad. And that requires us really to bring in coaches that have a similar footballing philosophy to their predecessors. Fabian, no doubt, will put his own mark on this squad and on our team and the way we play football in the Premier League. But obviously, we're really excited to be able to progress and hopefully have another good season.
Tony Bloom indicating over the summer that he wants Brighton to become a top 10 club consistently. What other moves have you made this summer to make that come to fruition, apart from being, at this moment in time, the Premier League's highest net spenders?
Yeah, that's an unusual position for us to be. But yeah, I a number of things really. First of all, we always try and strengthen the squad from a position of strength, and we felt we had a very strong squad, and we've added quality to that again. We've invested heavily in a new medical team, and we've hired Dr. Florian Flab, who's a former Eintracht Frankfurt head of medical, and prior to that Bayern Munich, and Gary Walker, who was in MLS with Cincinnati and previously 12 years at Manchester United. We felt that we could improve in that area as well as improve the squad. And we've done that. So obviously we're learning all the time. This is still going to be only our 8th season in the Premier League. We're still, relatively new boys at this level. And our first season last year in Europe was very testing. It challenged us a lot. We learned a lot from it. And so, we're looking to improve in every area of the club all the time. And this tour will test us. It's the first time we've been to Asia, the first time on this time zone. And the climate and the conditions are very different to what we experienced, for example, last year in the US. So we're really looking forward to it, and we're looking forward to the new season.
When I was over in Germany for the Euros, a lot of the papers over there were covering the story of Borussia Dortmund's interest in one of your mainstays, really, in the Premier League era, Pascal Gross. I think I'm right in saying your first ever Premier League signing. How difficult will it be to keep him at the veteran stage of his career when a big club like Borussia Dortmund in his homeland come calling?
Yeah, it's a challenge, and we've always said that if our players do well, if we do well, they're going to come under scrutiny and interest from bigger clubs potentially, and clubs that may be more attractive to them for different reasons. Pascal has been a fantastic servant to this club, literally from the day we opened our Premier League. Up until last season, he was still scoring goals, assisting goals, getting into the German national squad, getting into the squad for the Euros. I mean, he's been a great servant to the club. Obviously, we'd love to keep him, but we're also mindful of the stage he's at in his career and the opportunity that Dortmund might provide for him.
He's a terrific individual as well, isn't he? We spent a bit of time with him towards the end of last season, commentated on him in the Euros, actually, when he came on in the first game against Scotland, and played against a team which also included Billy Gilmour, who's been the subject of interest from Napoli this week. What is the latest with that?
Haven't heard anything more from Napoli. We have turned down one offer from them. Obviously, Billy's been an important player for us as well. We're very keen to keep Billy. Fantastic footballer, great character around this squad. Everyone, likes him. He's very popular around the group. But as I said before, we know that some of our players are going to come under interest and attention from other clubs, and we just have to manage that. That's part and parcel of being who we are and where we are at the stage of our journey.
One of your former managers, Graham Potter, is likely to come under subject of interest from the FA, no less, as they look for a potential new England manager. Would you be an advocate of Graham Potter to replace Gareth Southgate?
Well, I certainly enjoyed working with Graham for 3 years. I think, he's got a lot of the qualities that an organisation like the FA would look for. Certainly during my time there, I worked with a number of different England managers, and certainly from my experience with Graham, he communicates well, he's tactically astute, he plays a good brand of football. His English, which of course is not the only requisite for the FA these days or for any international team, but I think it will be attractive. And of course, he's available. I think from our experience of working with Graham, he'd be a very good candidate. I'm sure there'll be many others, but Graham certainly would be a good one.
You worked at the FA, you mentioned that. What will those in the corridors of power be doing at this stage of the procedure? Because obviously it's a week since Gareth Southgate declared his intention to stand down. England have got a Nations League campaign upcoming in around about 6 weeks' time. Will they be moving quickly, or is the FA an organisation where the wheels of power turn very slowly and decisions are made over a period of time, let's say?
Well, it's a long time, Sam, since I was there, and the regime has changed. And I've no doubt that they've got a lot better processes in place now because the organisation has evolved and is ever more sophisticated. But I certainly don't think there'll be any panic there. I mean, Gareth, in my opinion, did a fantastic job on and off the field. A perfect character to be England manager. And over 100 games speaks for itself, 2 finals and a semi-final. So, credit to Gareth for what he did. But in terms of the process now, they'll be taking their time. They'll be considering every possible candidate that they can. They'll be weighing up the options and the pros and cons of someone who's perhaps going after someone who's not in a job like Graham and someone who is in a job potentially. And there are trade-offs with both of those things. But I don't think they'll be rushed into making their decision. They'll be conscious of the campaign that's upcoming, but they've also got a lot of very good technical staff at different levels that I'm sure would provide interim solutions if they needed them.
Yeah, you're in favour of an interim solution. Would you, as an Englishman watching on, as an executive of a football club who knows what it's like to manage these processes, are you sort of in favour of interim solutions in these circumstances?
I think they're always a good backup. I think in an ideal world, you'd always have a succession plan in place. And I've no doubt that the FA, John McDermott, who I also worked with at Tottenham some years back, will be very methodical in the way he goes about things, as will Mark Bullingham. And they no doubt will have been seeing this day coming at some point, and therefore they will have a plan in place. So it's possible that an interim solution might not be needed, but succession planning is never a perfect science. It's never guaranteed that the person you ideally line up for a job is going to be available when you need them. So you do have to have a backup plan, and it's possible that the person that you want for the job doesn't want the job. So there's so many different scenarios that you can't possibly predict to any great degree. So therefore, having different plans is a sensible option. I'm sure the FA have got one.
On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.